Clear skin is important to everyone, especially our teens as they head back to school. And with all that stress, well, you know what's going to come with it, those bad breakouts. So thank goodness we have Jennifer Linder here, Dr. Jennifer Linder, and you're here. I'm going to pick your brain. I've got a teenager at home, and it's starting.
It's starting. You know, it's sort of, I think the stress of going back to school is a big stimulant of it. Also, it's Arizona, so we're sweating a little bit more, and they break out a little bit more.
Well, why do you think it is that the teens, you know, at what age did... I mean, I remember I had so much bad acne, but what causes it? It's just the age?
It's basically what happens when they go into those first phases of puberty. The hormones, of course, start flaring up. And then with that comes an increased amount of acne. And then the cells on the surface of the skin get overly sticky and actually block the pore. So the acne builds up underneath the pore and makes a little teeny bump.
Right.
The bacteria love to eat the acne, the oil, and that's what actually causes the inflammation.
Well, if the oil's to blame, then what do we do to increase the oil?
So you want to do a little decrease of the oil.
Okay.
And you do that through things like benzoyl peroxide cleanser, which actually can basically decrease oil at the same time as killing the acne.
Doesn't it dry out your face? Don't we hear that it dries things out too?
Yeah, so often what people do is they try to put too much on. They're doing toners, they're doing exfoliants, they're like, dry, 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 I'm oily, so I gotta dry. And when you dry your skin out too much, your body responds by making even more oil.
Oh, so it could totally backfire on you.
So you could totally backfire. So this is where you want to choose the right product. So my favorite product is a gentle benzoyl peroxide that has a little bit of something called gluconolactone in it, which helps to calm the skin down. Came out in July, it comes from PCA Skin, and it really changed my practice significantly because people who used to just get irritated actually now get things under control.
So this is something that you recommend for the teens. Now, boys, girls, is it all the same thing?
It's all the same thing for boys or girls, and the wash is so easy to do. They can put it in their shower, get a travel size to use after practice, put it in their locker, so after sports they can get their face kind of cleared up, and makes them much happier, obviously.
Right. Now, you know, a lot of people get adult acne, too. So I think we're talking about the acne. So no matter what age you are, this is going to work.
Yeah, it would work for an adult as well. Actually, it's what I use when I get those little breakouts.
Exactly.
It's a little monthly thing.
You know, my 12-year-old is starting to get those little white bumps, but it's not like it's acne. It's something else.
So that's called comedonal acne, and that's when the pore is just a little bit blocked. So it's not red, it's not inflamed, just a tiny little bump, and actually it's still the appropriate thing to use.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so, you know, how old do you start getting the acne?
So it can be as young as 9, and then typically, though, it's sort of that 13, 14, 15. And as you notice, it usually starts as tiny bumps in the forehead, maybe on the nose.
Right.
And then as you kind of get older and it gets more inflamed, then you start getting the red bumps.
All right, let's talk about those bumps. Let's talk about pimples.
Pimples.
Do you pop them or you don't pop them?
Don't pop them. Do everything you possibly can not to pop them. Because when you do, you're spreading the bacteria not only up and out, which is kind of fun, but unfortunately, all that's going down and out as well. And so what happens is soon you'll find a whole new little group of friends that develop around that original one.
Okay.
And it takes 3 times as long to heal.
Okay, so I know you're saying don't pop it, but at the same time, you know, if your son or your daughter has a great big one right there, you can't just walk out with this white thing there. So what do we do?
So the best thing to do is to use like a salicylic acid and put it on top because that'll kind of seal it, and then you actually can put a little dab of makeup on top of it.
Okay.
Even the boys, believe it or not, you know, maybe find one of the little benzoyl peroxide that's got a little tint in it and put it on there. Then they don't feel like it's makeup, but it covers it up a little bit.
So what are the steps that we could do for our kids to prevent this? It sounds like it's going to happen no matter what.
So if you can get them in the habit of washing their face early, that's a great thing to do. So teach them to wash their face.
Not with soap and water.
Not with soap and water.
Okay.
With like a nice little acne control cleanser, like the benzoyl peroxide cleanser, and get them doing that early. And then if you do that, that'll kind of get things under control. Then as they start to get more inflamed, then that's when you add the salicylic acid leave-ons. I do not like salicylic acid washes. They don't do enough.
Okay.
So you want to stick with your benzoyl peroxide washes.
Okay.
And then you might need to, like, if it starts getting really, really inflamed, that might be the point where you need to start going to the dermatologist. But you'd be surprised at how well you can control it with a nice over-the-counter moisturizer, benzoyl peroxide, and a little salicylic acid leave-on.
What about facials? I mean, do you think it's important at this age to start taking your boys and your girls in to get deep cleansing facials?
So I actually prefer a peel over a facial. The reason why is you get long-term benefit. You actually trigger some change within the follicle itself and decrease the acne and help decrease any scarring. But superficial chemical peels, I do them all the time in my office for patients. Boys especially like them because it's really simple. They just have to lay there and it gets done for them, and they don't have to kind of manipulate things as much on a daily basis.
And they don't feel like it's a sissy thing going to get a facial with mom.
Right, because it's a peel. They're doing something medical.
Right.
And so that's a better choice.
Okay, perfect. There you go. I know you guys are all Or you probably know a lot of teenagers with acne and you don't know what to do to help. Well, now we know. Dr. Linder, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll be sending our kids in to see you. All right, Linder Dermatology and Skin Cancer Surgery Center is located at 6710 East Camelback Road, Suite 220 in Scottsdale, and you can give her a call, 480-946-7939.